Usborne has some fantastic fiction books. Our storybooks are wonderful, they're engaging, they have beautiful illustrations, and I'm going to show you some of my favorites. So I'm going to first start out with our really well-known series of That's Not My. Lots of babies, lots of actual stores carry these books. There's so many different topics of them because they're so fun. The colors are very bright, they're pretty thick lines in here. There's a lot of touchy-feely in here. They're super thick. I have 2-year-old twins, and these books last through twins. So trust me when I say that they are very durable. Really cute, simple story, little things that they can touch and feel. Check those out. Those are really great. We have this new series that's a peek inside fairy tale. This is the peek inside fairy tale of Cinderella. I really think that they bring these books to life. It's magical the way that it's layered, the beautiful illustrations. I love that it has flaps so it keeps them intrigued, and it's a little peek inside, so they have these little holes in here that peek into the next page to keep them interested about the story. It keeps the fairy tale short and sweet, flaps within flaps, really, really fun, and then as of course you can see the kingdom in the back. These are adorable for a little girl. One of my favorites for our older readers are these illustrated classics. I have a 7-year-old niece who's not a very good reader, who loves them. I have a 9-year-old niece who's a good reader and loves them, and then I have an 11-year-old niece who raves about them too. So they're great for all different ages. These have a lot of different classic stories. This one in particular is the classics of Huckleberry Finn and other stories. So it has 6 different ones in here. It's a padded cover, and they have beautiful illustrations. There's enough illustration on there and enough text that it keeps them intrigued. It introduces them to classic stories that we all grew up and loved, and it's abridged so they don't get all of it, but enough to enjoy it. And I love that it has the pictures. Each story has a different type of illustration, which is great because then it kind of changes as it goes through. So definitely check those ones out. Another one of my favorite collections is this big book of little stories. The best thing about it is it has a ton of stories in it, but they keep them very short and sweet. So see, look, that's all the stories in there. And they're really well-known ones in there too. There are some that aren't. But this one, it's a Little Red Riding Hood. It has the simple text. So at bedtime, when you don't want to read for half an hour, you pick up this book, you read a few cute little stories. Your kids are happy, you're happy. It's a really great collection to have. Just like the illustrated classics, each story in here has a different type of illustration. And so they can keep their interest. It changes a little bit. This is a great collection to have. We have some really fun stories that actually come with plushes. Sometimes kids who are really into stuffed animals respond a little bit better when they can see the character as well as in this story. This one in particular is the What If Monster. It's Jonathan James and the What If Monster. It's the story about this little boy who has a lot of doubts, known as the What If Monster. So it says, some what-if monsters like to hang out and fill up our heads with worry and doubt. They are sneaky and quiet and quick as a blink. The words that they whisper can change how we think. So it talks about Jonathan James and this what-if monster, and he gets scared to do things, but as he goes along, he realizes that maybe the what-ifs can be good too. And so it's a really cute little moral of a story to encourage your child to think positively and to believe in themselves, which is always a great message to have. Nibbles is one of our bestsellers as well. It comes with Nibble. It doesn't come with, but you can get the plush of Nibbles. And this one's cute because it has flaps in here, and it's about this little monster named Nibbles who likes to nibble through books. And what he does is he actually nibbles himself out of this book. As you can see, he nibbles out and he goes into another story. So there's 3 other little stories in here that he goes in and changes. It's great imagination. I've never seen books like these before. That's one thing that I love about Usborne is they come up with really unique books and really, really fun ones for different ages. This one's kind of similar to Nibbles in the fact that it does have a little plush that you can get, and it's also a type of story that I've never seen before. It's this curious case of the missing mammoth. And this little boy, Oscar, goes on this adventure when he sees a mammoth outside his window. And the mammoth is looking for his little brother. So what they do is they go to the museum And it's so great because look how great these stories are. It opens up and this museum comes alive and the things in the museum talk. So it has this cute story about Oscar looking for the baby mammoth, but in here they have lots of little flaps that actually tell facts that you would find in a museum. So not only, like I said, is it that fiction storybook, but it also has these fun little facts in the museum. So this is a cute one. One of my son's favorite is this Animal-y. It's called I Love You, Animal-y, and it goes through these different animals and describes them, so they actually are getting some good vocabulary, but it also talks about how much that you love them. So let me read it to you. It says, I love you busily like a bee. I love you doggedly like a flea. I love you gently like a lamb. I love you boldly like a ram. So it goes through these little animals, and it just is a cute little way to just say that you love your child in so many different ways. This is a great one. And then the last one I want to show you is this story. It's called How Big is a Million? It's about this little penguin who has lots of questions. And if your child is a child like that, this is a book for them. He wants to try and figure out what a million is. So he has questions like, how wide is the sea? How high is the sky? How big is a million? And his mom's trying to teach him and trying to tell him, and it talks about counting, and then at the end, he said, I still can't figure it out. And then his mom takes him outside when it's nighttime and the sky is full of stars. And she said that that's a million. And what's cute about it is back here there's this big poster that actually folds out and there's a million stars on it. So how cool is that? So unique, so fun, great for kids who are learning and still being engaged by a cute story. So check these out and many more on my site. Thanks.